Hello, every pony. Hello. I'm about to be really annoying. I have a limited amount of time to film today. I really just out of the blue is like, I kind of want to film. First of all, I'm wearing this compression glove because my wrist has been hurting. So I'm gonna start wearing it just when I draw, or at least like for right now. Also, in other notes, I added Shrinky Dink Don't Tap the Glass. I basically am kind of art blocked in a interesting way. I've been working on this character design of my OC Aaron. I'm kind of getting it in the right direction. I've been feeling kind of blocked with it. Like it's not quite going in the direction where I want it to. Like I'm kind of stuck. I got this book at a thrift store recently and I've been meaning to use it to do some studies. I watched Superman and I've been really annoying about it. If you follow me on my Instagram and you see my stories, you will know this. I know that this is not DC, but I thought this would be a cool thing to try. I haven't like used an art book to actually practice drawing in forever. Like I don't even remember the last time I did it. I've done some flipping through of this already and I really think the art is cool in it. I also wanted to look at how they draw characters. Like I like the way they break it down. Recently I've not really been a break it down kind of guy. I've kind of been a I'm gonna do it however I feel like kind of guy. So I feel like going back to some of these basic ideas is a good thing to try. I've really not given this like a dedicated like read or anything. I kind of want to do studies of how they draw their characters and just learn from that. Yeah, here's Aaron. I've been struggling with his design a lot. I think I like this, but it's a matter of working on it more. So I have to whip out my least favorite art supply, which is gonna be weird to a lot of you, but my least favorite art supply. I don't even know why I hate pencil and graphite so much. I think it's just been like it's fine to sketch in, but I only use it to sketch when I'm doing like a finished piece. Otherwise, if I'm sketching, I'm entirely gonna do it in pen. There's like no chance. And I don't make finished pieces that often when I don't have to. So I kind of want to start by using this, kind of the ovals and stuff. I like kind of how this is broken down, and then I think the way it gives it form makes sense. I've gotten pretty good at just copying things. So I feel like just using the shapes here and just being able to copy these simplified things will make my skills even better. So I think I'm gonna do these two just to start with. I also feel like maybe my posing recently hasn't been Jesus. Actually, I'm gonna start with the Spider-Man one. I've always been a very big fan of Spider-Man. I hate sketching pencil. Already I'm mad. I'm just never been, not never, I used to be kind of big on sketching in pencil, like even just a couple years ago. If you go and watch my older sketchbook tours where it's not even my own voiceover, you would see that I've done plenty of sketching in graphite, and I used to coat it in Mod Podge so that it would not bleed as much. Smudging onto the other page. For one, I don't like that effect, and two, I just don't like graphite. I don't know why. I think partially it's just I don't like the feeling that nothing I'm making right now is permanent, which I guess that's fine, and it's like in a way. Oh, there's like some funky perspective on the leg. This will be helpful. There's actually funky perspective all over this. They really break it down into just the core bones and stuff. Things I try to keep an eye on in this phase, I guess, is proportions, distances between things. Like, is this arm too far out? Do all the lines match kind of distances between each other? I do appreciate how simplified this is because it makes it very easy to kind of try and copy down the way his left knee is bending towards you. That's called foreshortening. Haha, I know that. I've done a lot in comic book artwork, which I think that's true. I think the more dynamic your poses are, you often end up with those sort of things. I hate having this fuck-ass glove on. I was wearing it and my parent saw it and they went, "Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who thinks I am the one. But the kid is not my son." Now that I sung for you guys, now it's like here we start fleshing him out again, just adding those clever little cylinders as you go. I would describe this phase as adding some meat to him. I also think this will help me draw men better. I feel like no matter how much time passes, I always feel like my men are just slightly more weak than women. I think it's easier for me to draw women because they're more interesting. I feel like there's something off about how I have this lined up. oh, I think this like leg is a little bit shorter. It's interesting because it's so sketchy and it's so good, but I don't have those skills. I'm glad I'm making use of this book. The other day I used these artist books that I got forever ago that I got for the holidays and breaking down a lot of anatomy stuff, but I've like never used them. I like how this pose is going so far. I'm feeling pretty confident, but there's a lot of foreshortening, which is something I also feel like I'm not great at. Also, this book does have Mr. Stan Lee in it. That's how you know you're cooking. Okay, this hand, I sketched it to go out a lot farther, which I do think is correct. Where does that line meet there? Kind of up here is where the elbow hits. So I'm kind of using, let me go over what I'm doing here. So I'm looking at this line and I'm going, okay, well this line here goes down to kind of the middle of his arm, like this part of your arm. Yeah, that's kind of the middle there. But then this line up here is kind of where the elbow weenus, if you will, hits. So I need to refine that a little bit more. Okay, these are the things that I try to pay attention to. Actually, I might just keep the sketchbook like this for right now. I know that I'm gonna have to draw that foot over the line and that's gonna irritate me. It's fine. These things are hard because they're precise, but like kind of simple at the same time. There's something with this like foreshortening that I'm having a hard time. I feel like I'm getting it, but it also, maybe I need to make it thinner. Yeah, I think it goes in a bit. It jets in a bit more there, and then that looks stupid, but it kind of looks like that. Another thing that's hard is this doesn't look right when I do it, but it looks like the reference and the reference looks right. That sort of struggle is very common for me. They do a good job of illustrating the knees. I have a hard time with joints. I did a study of carpals the other day, which is that bone. This is going pretty decently. I feel like there's something about my pose that's off. Like I feel like maybe this leg, well, I feel like this leg is further out and this part curves out more. So I guess I have to use more of the thing. I also learned this from my times in my art classes. Proportionally, this is the length. It goes out by like half of the length. So measuring this about half here, so then it would go out like to this point, I guess. That's like my weird sort of math I do. It's a little bit hard to use that. I remember that was like maybe the most helpful thing I've ever learned in my time in my art classes. Yeah, this leg needs to be longer. Lots of adjustments, but that's fine. We're here to learn, guys. We're here to learn. I really like the way they simplify the feet. I think that looks cool. The end of the foot kind of goes to here, kind of mid-leg. I think I need to change the way I'm drawing this leg. There's something off about it. I don't love erasing. I don't know why. It's like helpful. It's a helpful thing. I really liked the Superman movie. I feel like now would be a good time to talk about it. I really liked that the emotional core and message of the movie was like, be nice. Everybody be nice to each other. I remember even in the theaters, like before I had seen anything online about it, I heard the line, maybe it kind of is the punk rock. Even though that kind of sounds corny, I really liked that line even when I just heard it for the first time. I was like, so true. Yes, being nice is cool. Being chalant is cool. Oh, maybe I should add the eyes. My other thing that I also feel like is a unique, my own personal problem, is that I don't like drawing eyes at all. It's interesting, like what people like drawing, I usually end up putting off eyes for so long when I'm drawing a face. Do you guys like how stretchy my kneaded eraser is? Everybody's always impressed. Because I also just kind of use it as a fidget all the time. I'm gonna be watering my neighbor's plants. I'm not doing my neighbor. I'm gonna be watering my neighbor's plants while they're away. I'm getting paid $60 to do it, which feels like I'm getting overpaid, but also they're like, it's gonna be 20 minutes every time you water our plants, which feels a little bit much, but I will do it because that's what they wanted me to take shape in your imagination before starting to put them down on the paper. Thank you, Stanley, or the other guy who, John Bussy. Also, if you ever hear me reading in a video, know I'm dyslexic. Please know I'm dyslexic. If I skip a word, that is my brain. Sometimes I'm like, am I just dumb? That's like a recent worry. It's like, am I just straight up dumb? Because I worry that I have learning disabilities such as ADHD and dyslexia. I technically have ADD, but I've been told that there's no difference between that and ADHD. And sometimes I think people take ADD less seriously, so I often end up saying ADHD just so people know I'm special. No, I actually am serious about my problems. I have an itchy scalp and I'm really worried that I'm gonna have lice, but I think it's just an itchy scalp. I have no idea. The thing is, to me, I'm like, if I was around children 24/7, maybe I would, maybe there would be like an actual like, okay, let's get out the comb and get a good check, but I think I just have an itchy ass scalp from like swimming too much. I don't know, I think my head's just dried out. And I messaged my friend who does swimming and I was like, does your head ever just get really itchy from all of the swimming you do? And she's like, yep. And so now I feel like I'm a normal person. Man, the way they like outline muscles is something that I find really interesting. When I draw muscles, I kind of just give outline of the shape. I'll do these arm bends and stuff to make sure those look clear, but oh my gosh, look at this hand, bro. Oh, I'm cooked. I feel like I have same hand syndrome, if that makes sense, where I draw pretty much like the same hand over and over again. I want there to be diversity. I remember watching this video. Maybe it was made by somebody online who has actually like no credentials to say what they're saying on the internet, but they were talking about in art portfolios for like character design or something, they included hand references to show that they can really add just character to the hands. And I love things that are specific like that. I think that's one of my favorite things with my characters recently, is I've been thinking a lot about specificity in my drawings for them. When you're drawing from these books, it's always important to remember that the artists that you're copying from are professionals. I am not a professional by any stretch of the imagination. I feel like I've never drawn this Spider-Man suit before. Yeah, just the way they define muscles is not how I'm used to. Oh, you can really see my hair shadow. Sorry. Put the light like that so then my hair shadows are less common. When I was editing that other video I made recently, I wear glasses and often I just choose to not wear them because I don't feel like it. But there was one time where I was, nothing beats a Jet2 holiday, and right now you can save 52 pounds per person. I have no recollection of what I was just gonna say. Oh, I was gonna say that I had my glasses off when I filmed my last video, and when I was editing, I was like, you can see my blonde little hair. Can you see my blonde ass hair? That, it just kept coming in the video, and I was like, Jesus Christ. This is why I need my glasses, is because I'm like, if I'm not locked in, my head is like 2 inches away. I worry sometimes that because I'm on a diet, I'm eating like less a little bit than the average person would in a day. I worry sometimes, what if I'm accidentally not eating enough and that's why like my head hurts sometimes. Something about styles like this is that they have like a certain looseness to them that I always really love, but to have a looseness to your style, you have to really know what you're doing. I'm really excited for the new Spider-Man movie, because of course I am. I hope they don't fuck it up. That's my biggest worry, is because all of the Spider-Man movies so far have just been so good. Like, they've been so good. Not a single like flop, in my opinion. I'm so worried that Marvel has just been so mediocre recently. I used to be really into Marvel. Watching Superman again made me remember how much I really actually love superhero movies. I thought it was so funny. I was watching Royal Court, where Brittany Broski had on Logan, whatever his last name is. She was like, if you could make any sort of movie, like no budget, you could do whatever you wanted, what kind of movie would, and you know that it would be a success, what would you want to put out into the world? And he was like, I think a blockbuster superhero movie. And I was like, that's just... He's very funny. I'm always happy when I find out a celebrity is like just a witty, funny person outside of their work, because, you know, they're not really the genius behind a lot of the aspects of the film. Like, they're the star, but at the same time, you're not the only person making this movie work. Like, you could just be written really well and be a really good actor and not be the most interesting person. But I think acting within itself just requires, I'm not really following any of the lines here. I'm just kind of doing the Spider-Man pattern in my own way. Acting within itself, I think it does take a level of knowledge and intentionality, and only Bryan Cranston could play Walter White and have it turn out the way it did and as efficiently as it did. I was thinking about this the other day where I was like, there is a certain quality, some actors where like if I watch them in a role good enough, I will then forever just think that they are an amazing actor. It can take just one role for me to be like, and yeah, you're kind of peak. I think that's true with pretty much all of the actors in entire Breaking Bad series. I feel so bad that I don't know the actress's name, but the actress who plays Skylar White is genuinely kind of insane, like in a good way. No, she's like actually just so insanely talented to play that role the way she did. And if you don't like Skylar White, I immediately just assume the worst. Like, I don't think that I've never heard like any person who hates her have like any justifiable reason. Oh, that show is so good. I've been thinking about rewatching it because I've gotten a lot of videos on my feed again recently about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and I'm like, maybe I'll do a rewatch where I watch Better Call Saul first and then Breaking Bad. I'm quite happy with how this sketch looks. Thank you, Stan Lee. Or I don't know if this is, like, it's made by both of these people. I don't know who's doing the drawings and who's doing the writing, or if it's a mixture of both, but I also just think my posing recently has not been as dynamic as I would like it to be, because I don't really push myself to draw poses that are that dynamic if I don't feel like there's a need to. See, I don't really get what's going on with his ribs and stuff, but I'm just gonna follow it because that's what it told me to do. There's sometimes where I go, you know, I could spend all the time refining this detail. Do I want to? No. No, I do not. Okay, first sketch done. I think I'm gonna leave it at this and then come back to this video later, but I'm quite pleased. Look at my Spider-Man. Spider-Man is also my favorite superhero, but that just makes me basic and uninteresting. Yep, we'll return to this in like a day, maybe. Okay, I'm back. I have the book again. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what I want to do as my next thing, because I could do more studies of just like the way they do posing. I don't know. Like, I don't know what else I want to really take from this. I feel like maybe these bigger characters, like I feel like drawing this Kingpin would be fun. Can you see my preference for Spider-Man very much on display with no shame? Because yeah, I guess I'll try drawing Kingpin. I feel like I just don't draw characters with this like cartoonishly exaggerated. I had somebody once tell me like, oh, you're really heavy-handed. I was like kind of offended because, I mean, I think I am. On one hand, I'm like, and you know what, you got me there. But simultaneously, I don't think I'm that heavy-handed, and it doesn't like come as a problem. They're like, wow, you're really heavy-handed. I'm like, really? Yeah. Said it like they were mad at me. I think of that and why do you care? Because it really, being kind of heavy-handed doesn't really affect it that much. They're like, oh, you just are gonna have to erase like a lot. Yeah, we'll see how bad it is when I have to erase now. They're like, wow, you just are gonna have to like really go in with the eraser when you do erase. But I was like, I don't really care if it's slightly messy. And two, like, even just with this kneaded eraser, the kneaded erasers they don't really get all the pigment all the time. Look at how you can't even see it anymore. Okay, I'm gonna draw him higher up and then slightly smaller. I hope I'm doing it. I've been thinking about the Marvel movies recently again, and I was like thinking about how much I loved I would say like the golden era was just Infinity War and Endgame and stuff like that was insane. Oh my gosh. And then all the Spider-Man movies. No, there's like not a single Spider-Man movie that I don't really like. I've watched every single Spider-Man movie. That's like the only superhero where I actually give a shit no matter what the circumstances are. I'm so excited for the next one. Here's the thing. I went to see like the most recent like Thor movie with my family when it came out because we loved Ragnarok. Our whole family loved Ragnarok. And then we went to go see the most recent Thor movie whenever that came out. It was just, none of us liked it. None of us thought it was good. I don't think, you know, a movie isn't good when like nobody's talking about it still. There's movies that are like, maybe they have some flaws to them, but like they are still being talked about to this day. I don't mean like, because fandoms do, because now I want to, okay, I'm gonna make his head smaller again. just a little bit smaller. As an example, I would say like Turning Red. Like every now and then I still get an edit of that on my For You page, and that's how you know people liked that movie. Same thing with Soul. Even though people are talking about Disney like, oh, it's not good anymore. I think the last like really good movie from Disney was Encanto, unfortunately. I did like Turning Red, alright, but it wasn't my favorite. There was a level of like, it was too embarrassing for me, which I get that that's like the point, and so that's like why I'm not gonna be, oh, it's not a good movie. It's a perfectly good movie. I couldn't handle some of the secondhand embarrassment, unfortunately. His hand kind of like perfectly, it's almost like there's a tangent there. You see, this one doesn't break down how they add in the kingpin details here, so I'm just gonna try my best when it gets to that point. Actually thinking that I'll be able to upkeep making videos when I move out here soon. Man, his hands are just so large. My regular like knowledge of proportions just kind of goes out the window here. Your hand is basically the size of your face from your chin to your eyebrows. I did it. You could hear me muffle my voice. Man, this is like actually tweaking with my brain a little bit. This is helpful though. It's good. Has the build of someone short, but I know he's like so big. His design is so goofy, but I kind of love it. Look at me like you're mad at me, baby. I need a freak to drive me crazy. Man, the way they like sketch him out, he like looks so round almost. I would almost like, maybe that's an intentional design thing, but I know that with characters like this, villains I should say, you want to make them not seem round. But I don't know if in the comics, because I'm gonna be very, very truthful when I say this. I know absolutely nothing about the comics, okay? I know nothing about it, and I don't wish to know anything about the comics. I'm just kind of like looking back and forth and trying to tweak proportions. This stylized proportions is something I struggle with. I have my own stylization of proportions, I'm sure, but not on this scale of caricature. It's crazy because his tummy is like an inch away from his crotch. Poor guy. Yeah, I guess that's fine for the first round, so I can lighten this up. That took 10 minutes, my time. I'm sure in video editing time, it's less than that. It's interesting because I'm starting to learn, okay, if I film for this long and I'm chatty that day, or how long does that translate after editing? And the answer is a third of the time. That could have been like 3 minutes of the video. Yeah, I do know what my friend meant when they said I'm heavy-handed, but I also don't care. That's my thing. I'm actually gonna round out his head. They didn't like tell you how to refine it to get it to look more like this kingpin up here, but I'm just gonna look at it. I've gotten pretty decent, I would say, at being able to just copy things by looking at them, which is a skill I wish I had when I was younger. I wish I could just copy so bad, but I was not good at it. And it is definitely a skill. Like, you want it kind of bad as a kid just because you wish you could just do what other people are doing. Every now and then when I do a study, it's kind of cool to be like, okay, I can basically draw this thing that this person can draw, and that's cool. Like, I can almost do the exact thing that they're doing. I actually really like drawing suits. It's one of my favorite things to draw, so it's gonna be kind of cool to see how they stylize it. Yeah, the thing that's fucking me up right now is that there's this line here that just goes over where all of these muscles, like, it looks like this arm is coming out, which it kind of is, but the jacket is sticking straight forward, which maybe they have a knowledge on fabric that I don't quite understand, or they're just, the sketch of the body is this arm overlap with the body, but it actually is behind, and they just know that because they know what they're doing. but it's not very clear just in the sketch that that's what's going on. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just is confusing for me because I'm doing my weird bullshit. It doesn't necessarily matter if this is perfect. I'm still learning a lot. I want to be better about making use of all these art books that I have. I'm definitely not taking them with me when I move out here soon. His hand, look at the muscles. The way they simplify the hands in the sketch too also like kind of messed me up because oh, that one's gonna be hard to draw. I'm not looking forward to that. This episode, it feels so colorless. That's the thing. That's another reason why I think I don't like graphite. I just don't like not having pretty colors when I sketch. Which there is colored graphite, but I don't like it. Well, okay, I don't even know if I've used colored graphite or just like colored pencil lead, which I don't know if those things are the same or if there is such a thing as like graphite, because it doesn't feel like it's the same material. The times I've used colored lead, it doesn't feel like graphite even, and then it's hard to erase and it's also like super light anyways. I've enjoyed sketching with like colored pencils, the like erasable colored pencils. Those are different though, because they feel like a colored pencil, which feels different from graphite. Yeah, I like being heavy-handed. Screw that person who told me I can't be. They didn't even say that I can't be. They just said it in like such a passive-aggressive-ass tone where they're like, yeah, you're just like, you're gonna have to erase a lot and then it's gonna like stain? I don't know, taint your paper. And I was like, I don't really care, especially when it's like stuff in my sketchbook. And you can always like, in my art pieces, you don't see the sketch lines underneath when I do a finished illustration, which is becoming rare right now. And I'm worried about how I'm gonna definitely have to do more finished work soon here, but I'm actually not super worried. I'm gonna be fine. I know myself well enough to be like, if I have an art piece assigned to me, I know that I'll just do it and it will be fine. There's some people that are, and this is true with any kind of assignment. I think people are like just get more bitter about it because it is art and it feels worse to pressure it because it can be so personal in a way. But for me, it's like as soon as I have it as an assignment, I can just lock in. Like I don't, this line doesn't get defined there, so I'm gonna leave it undefined. This is so confused. This is like really messing with my head. So I'm trying to do this hand, right? The way the knuckles are tucked in is really hard for me to draw. Okay, now it's time to do the face, which I don't want to. Part of what I've done wrong, I've noticed, is that this shoulder goes up this high, which goes up that point beyond his ear, but I don't know, maybe I drew the ear partially wrong, so I'll bring that ear down. But this arm feels like it should be shorter than, no, it looks, I'm gonna tweak these lines. I think the hand is in a fine place. I'm gonna bring up the elbow a little bit. See, this is why it's like important to get your proportions right in the first go, because then you get here and you're like, oh, I need to fix a lot of problems that have now been caused because I got this messed up in the first place. I think that looks better. I know that like this, there is like definitely a curved angle. I don't know if it's as extreme as what I got going on here, but again, it's a study. It's a study. It's a study. I love folds in clothing. It's one of my favorite things to draw. I think maturing is realizing faces are the worst thing to draw. Here's the thing for me is that so much of the piece relies on a good face. Like you could do a great drawing of a body and then the face could look janky and then you're fucked. How about I put on my glasses? I was about to be like, man, I really need to get close to this paper. I was gonna have my head like right here. I'm gonna go grab my glasses. Chair is the loudest thing possible. Okay, I want to like zoom in. I'm getting my eyes checked again here soon because it's been like 2 years since I got my glasses, which threw me off because I was, oh, I feel like I just got my eyes checked recently. And it's like, no, that was 2 years ago. Oh, okay. There's just something really fun to the character designs that are like this to me, where they're just so funky, and I love that. Just the beadiest little eye. He definitely doesn't have the same design he has in Spider-Verse, which is fine. I have both Spider-Verse art books, and I want to do studies from them one day, but I'm not doing that today. I do really like that book. I haven't really sat down and done studies of it ever, and I've had it for a few years. At least the first one. The second one I've only had for like 2. What the hell? How many of those books have I owned for this long? That's crazy. I like collecting art books. They're fun. They're fun and whimsical. Okay, this is starting to come together now that I have the face in. I just hate drawing faces. I don't know why. Mess me up because I also don't know how to draw eyes like this because they come in under the eyebrow, nuzzled under the eyebrow. He looks like a Muppet. I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to draw. What the fuck is this? They look like they're further apart in the thing, but how would I draw the eyes first and then I put the eyebrows on top? I'm actually probably gonna pause this so I can get really close. I'm sorry, it's just gonna have to be the thing. Okay, it's unpaused. I had to get really up. I was like an inch above his face. That's the thing. I don't want a back of the head reveal. I think I'm going to lighten this up, give it one last refine because I didn't get a second time. I didn't get a second one to help me refine it more, so I just had to lock it. I went to the Mall of America recently and I got scammed. I bought fake Sony Angels, unfortunately, but they're hippers, and I also I really couldn't tell you that I care very much. I couldn't really tell you that I cared that much about getting scammed. It really didn't bother me that much. I felt bad because I was like, I called my friend and I was like, hey, I just found these Sony Angels. And they're like, oh my gosh, buy me some. And then I immediately realized after that they were definitely fake. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You see, they have such dark lines in the sketch that's what I want to use. Now I'm just gonna keep getting mad about that comment about somebody being like, you have really heavy hands. I don't care. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about homeless people. I mean, like, you're mad at me, baby. I mean, they're free to drive me crazy. Here's the thing, they do a lot of undefined lines in their sketches, which is whatever. Oh wait, that's why I'm confused. Because they have the lines of an inner coat going on here. On the struggle bus point into struggle station, but I really am pretty happy with how these have turned out. I have a weird relationship with art critique where I really want it and I want people to be honest with me, but some people just will be mean, and that's not helpful. I want constructive criticism, and people hear that and they're like, oh, you're giving me permission to be a dick. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. There's some people that can't handle constructive criticism though, and that is something you'll find out sooner or later. Online, unless somebody's asking for art critique, I generally would suggest that you keep it to yourself, because you don't know them like that to be like, and here's why your art pace fucking sucks. Thank you, I don't know you. People in real life, if you're in an art class where the point is to, improve your skills, I don't really get why. Just take constructive criticism, because it's not an option. Some people, yeah, they'll definitely be mean, and then it gets to a point sometimes where, unfortunately, every now and then there is somebody's piece where very flawed, and then everybody is giving it a lot of constructive feedback, and then that person probably is my piece fucking sucks, bro, which is unfortunately the game. That's part of yeah, that's just how it happens sometimes. Giving feedback to people on the internet, it's giving to me the Gabby Hanna clip where she's like, it's just my opinion, I think you're fat, I think you're ugly.
I think you're fat.
Yeah,
it's just my opinion. I'm not bullying you, I'm just giving you I think you're ugly, I think you're fat.
That's how some people are with their critique, unfortunately. But I don't know, I try to be constructive in a way that's helpful. You know what made me feel really good? One time in one of my art classes, I was talking to somebody. We were talking about this art piece that they had. I don't remember what the feedback I was giving them was. I was like, oh, well, maybe as an idea you could do this, and yada yada. They brought a notebook with them for critique notes, and then they didn't take it out before I started talking. And I was like, hell yeah. They made me feel very good about myself. I was like, oh, hell yeah. They know who's got the good opinion. Here's the thing. There's some people that when the critique starts, they just get showered in compliments. Always gonna be that one person that's just cooking, and then a lot of people will admire that person's work. There's some people that just get showered in compliments, and it makes you feel like, okay, what's wrong with my artwork that never happened? Okay, I think I actually need to bring this line down because I'm realizing it's hitting the thumbs a little weird. See, there's always tweaks that I make this far in, and I'm like, oh, never noticed. Generally, I had that problem a lot in like my first year of art classes. In my second year of art classes, I had switched to kind of being, well, for one, I think my art improved because that's just like gonna happen in a year. And two, I think that the pieces I was making were much more good ideas I had, and I was really pushing that to happen. So that's kind of where it all came from, was just, I'm gonna start doing what I like doing and what I think is cool and what I think is a good idea. And then once I feel like this is something that I think really rings true, is that once you start making art that is mostly for yourself, it kind of starts to be appealing to people even more. And maybe this is wrong and other people will come in and be like, no, I did not have that experience, which, okay, whatever. I just think from my personal experience, I had people where in my first year I was kind of like, man, I want to make art that people find impressive. The pieces that I think have done the best are ones that I would say, for one, are my favorites that I made. Usually a favorite for me means that I gave it a lot of meaning. Like that's usually a part of it. Like it has meaning to me personally, and it has like multiple interpretations. And sometimes people like don't understand the interpretation, or like they don't care what the meaning is. Like I have this one piece that I made that comes to mind when I think of this, that is this portrait of a pig eating a burger with bacon on it. The assignment was create a piece surrounding food, or like surrounding relationships with food. That was kind of the prompt of the assignment, which like I was surprised that nobody else really went. No, maybe I'm wrong, maybe my memory is flawed, but I don't think many other people in my class went with any sort of meaning that was, I don't want to say deep, like I think the meanings were deep, but I don't think anybody went in the route of discussing eating problems or anything like that, which I guess trigger warning, if I'm about to talk to that, I might put up a timestamp for when I'm done talking about it. But as someone who is a little bit bigger, I've had a very interesting relationship with food, and the piece I made was a pig eating a burger with bacon on it. And I guess it was kind of like this idea of kind of self-destruction in a way, where it's like, I've been larger my whole life, and it's not necessarily out of, oh, I'm just like naturally built a little chunky. Maybe a tiny bit. I'm really related to that Caleb O'Hearing clip where he's like, in every life I'm a little bit chunky, but I've let myself go in this one. That's how I feel about myself. And like in this piece, I kind of made this sort of statement of, the pig looks so happy and eating this burger with bacon on it. It's like this sort of self-destruction, blissful ignorance of just eating whatever you want, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I don't mean to shame anybody for eating anything. I used to not eat very healthy. I've gotten a lot better. I've even lost a lot of weight, but I didn't really eat super well for a long time, and I didn't care. I didn't really mind that. And then I was like, you know, maybe I want to live a long life and be fulfilled, and I want to make sure that I have like healthy habits and a healthy body. So I changed that, and that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. The piece really was about like this sort of vague thing. The interesting thing about it is like no one really asked about the meaning, which was interesting. Like I don't know why, or maybe like people just were scared to ask, because like I can see why. And also I think it was like one of the first few assignments we had in that class, so I think people could have been more shy about asking for things like that. I really loved that piece, and I think that in the future I want to continue to make pieces that have work with that sort of subject matter in mind, or not necessarily that subject matter, but just subject matter similar. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause again so I can get real up close and personal with my drawing. I can't draw this fuck ass face, but I'm gonna leave it because I don't care that much anymore. And I had so many experiences like that where the pieces that got the best reaction were the pieces that I personally really liked the meaning I gave them, on top of just admiring how they came out. As I sketch, unfortunately, it makes you realize like, okay, well, this line and this line are meeting here, and that doesn't meet over there like that, so it's probably something I did wrong. But, you know, whatever. It gets to like these things that are much more difficult. Like the Spider-Man one was more in my comfort zone. Even if it was like a pose in action, I think just the act of it being like a body type that I'm very familiar with. I've also drawn Spider-Man before. This is just very outside of my comfort zone, but I do like it. It is pushing me to be a better artist. You know what sucked is when people liked a piece that I hated. That was always, that's like such a first world problem sort of thing, but like genuinely I actually hated. I don't like it when other people like work that I hate. It makes me so mad. I see so many people post about how they're annoyed that low quality reels get popular. I get what you mean. I don't really care that much because I feel like in general I view all of TikTok as like low quality content that I'm making. A project that I would absolutely hate would be like, we would talk about it for so long because people liked it and I was like, move on, it's not good. Which makes me sound like a pick-me, but I promise you, I hated some of those pieces. We would talk about them for a while and I was like, please, let's move on. Let's move. I don't want to talk about it. I remember my teacher would be like, why don't you, which this is helpful that my teacher would say that. She would go, why don't you like it? And I'd be like, it just didn't turn out how I expected it in my head, which is every artist's biggest like gripe, I think, with their work. They're like, it doesn't measure up to the image I had in my head, because our eyes are often more developed than our drawing skills, unfortunately. Getting in these lines that I don't like, nor do I want to draw, but I'm doing it for the sake of Kingpin. I like him a lot in Spider-Verse. That's something I forget, is like that the villains in the comics are also the villains in the movies. I know that the storyline changes a little bit, but I guess I'm done. I mean, I could add more detail to this. I always go, oh, I'm done, and then I not. Foolish behavior. I've never met anybody built like this. Saw somebody post like a picture of Abraham Lincoln and they went, I've never met anybody that looks like even close to looking like this. And that's really, I think that's really accurate, because yeah, I've never met anybody that's like even remotely similar looking to Abraham Lincoln. Okay, the more I get time away from looking at that face, the more I am okay with its existence. They got a lot of sketch lines here, which I know is like the shirt coming out, but it just looks like a lot of which is kind of cool that they can just do that, and and you can be like, ah yes, the sleeves coming out. Okay, what am I doing? I dropped my pencil and I'm like, bitch, pick that shit up. Okay, Kingpin. He doesn't quite look perfect, but it's fine. It's fine. I did it. I did it. I did it. These took me so long. These studies were very hard, but I actually like them. It's just 2 sketches, which feels very anticlimactic, but I kind of want to make my art on here just feel like kind of casual fun. Just like, let's do stuff in my sketchbook. Let's like have normal chit chats while I draw. So yeah, if you like that sort of style of video where I just kind of talk to myself and do simple drawings on my sketchbook, consider subscribing. This was very fun. I'm very proud of the Kingpin, because hey, this video is 47 minutes. The video of just drawing him is 47 minutes long, and I cut out the times I had to like get this close to his face, and those were probably like 3 minutes each. But I'm done, and I hope you liked it. I have Pinterest. It's fun. I like Pinterest. If you wanted to draw my characters, I have cool reference photo boards of them there, so that's and then there's my Instagram and my TikTok, which I post on weekly. I'm here on YouTube outside of that. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and be posting like maybe weekly. I don't know. I can't make any promises, but I would love to post weekly if I could. We'll see though. Yeah, that's it. I hope you had a beautiful day, and I hope you have a beautiful morning and an afternoon. And yeah, bye-bye.